We have become such a close-knit family in our lives here on Earth, family.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this new adventure that we have going on today. I'm Teri Angel here with my beautiful co-host, ShaRon Ria, and we are going to be holding a discussion amongst ourselves and hopefully with all of you, anyone who wants to interact with us. So we're going to talk about, do we have a desire to go deeper in our spiritual journey? I know I do. Do you want to explore your potential and your possibility in life? I do. So come sit with ShaRon and I. Let's hold this conscious conversation together. Let's see where we end up. I just think we're going to let spirit flow. We're going to hopefully have some of you that have a comment or a question. If you do, just type it into that message box. And let's see where we go with this. This is a time when we need this. And this is how this show came about. ShaRon and I have had many conscious conversations, and it's always a deep dive, always looking below the surface. You know, ShaRon, the angels have just really been working with me lately, saying the things that are popping up in our world, all of those flags, all of those struggles and challenges and the newest and greatest, that's to distract us from taking the deeper dives. It's to bring us back up to that surface area where we're going to get angry, we're going to get upset, we're going to pound our chests and get on our soapbox. So let's talk about how we can handle all of that influx of energy and all of the things when they transpire. And how do we maintain our self, our spiritual self, in the midst of all this human drama and trauma and everything that we're feeling in the world these days? So,
you know, Teri, while you're talking, this picture of a little kid playing hopscotch on the sidewalk came into my mind. And what it said to me was, we can play hopscotch and make it kind of fun to be able to move between what's happening in our world that's just atrocious or scary or unbelievable or depressing, and come back, like you say, to ourselves. When you play hopscotch, you jump out on 2 squares, and then sooner you'll come back to 1 square. And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to hop out and see what's in the world, see how I relate to it. Can I help? Is it in my circle where I can help, or do I have to go outside of my circle? And that's a choice. And then let me hop back to myself, because it's similar to a cup of water. If you pour out into your friends, you pour out into your family, you pour out into the world and your pets and everything else outside of you, you don't take time to fill that cup back up, then you get depleted, and it's difficult to dive deep, to even find yourself. So play hopscotch, y'all, have some fun.
Hopscotch, I love that. You know, one thing that the angels always say is we take this thing called life so seriously. We don't give ourselves a chance to breathe. And when we get into the energy of play, that's a lighter experience, that's a lighter consciousness. Then we can see what we're dealing with, right? When we're in the midst of that tornado, when things are swirling and, you know, the wind's blowing and blowing us backwards, it's kind of hard to see the reality of what's really going on, because we're focused on survival. And when we're focused in on survival, we might make decisions that are not for our best and highest good. We're going to make them out of that feeling of lack, or that feeling that our safety and our security has been shaken. which is what we feel a lot these days, isn't it? For
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
what, 3 years now? It's been kind
Yes.
of crazy.
Yes, and beyond and before 3 years with so many other things going on. And Terry, it is become aware to me as I live by myself and I have no one interrupting my thoughts, and my sweet walls hear everything I say because I talk out loud.
Right. I can attest to that.
And I've become willing to observe, at least from my perspective, that we have a lot of judgments about how we're supposed to behave. You're not supposed to be happy when something's sad. You're not supposed to not watch the news so you don't know what's going on. You're not supposed to whatever all the other things are. And so in my effort, which I'm talking about so I can offer other people that possibility, is that I need to learn who I am and what's true for me. And then there is a courageous space to actually live that, because it's in high contrast what I'm choosing, how I'm choosing to live. It's in high contrast to what the world says I should do. So when you're playing hopscotch and Teri is saying that the angels are affirming that joy and laughter is a healing, is necessary, because when you're stressed or fearful, it's difficult to come up with healthy solutions.
Yeah. And that's your forte, ShaRon. And I can certainly attest to that. You have that ability to take a situation and come at it from the observer point of view. And let's try this, let's do that. Well, what if we did this? And so many times when we're caught up in our lives and all the the happenings and the things that hit us, we need that outside observer, don't we?
Yes, we do. And when I am still, but I'm migrating to, I am still a family relationship coach, and I work with families and parents and how they communicate, teens, dads, all of that. And I'm migrating to a no judgment, just love life coach. And from that perspective, when I was working with families, and you maybe had 2 or 3 brothers and sisters, let's say, and if you were to ask brother A and brother B and brother C and sister D to define that dad, every one of them would have a different definition, because each person relates to that dad differently. Well, life is like that as well. We think there's only one way to look at things. And often the news bombards us with 1 or 2 or 3 ways to observe a situation. But there are an infinite ways to see things. Can I share a quick story that I just heard the other day?
Please.
Hopefully it will highlight for everyone. This beautiful friend of mine shared with me, we were talking about no judgment, just love. And he shared with me that there is I don't know if it's a fable or a story that people have told, where on the bus is a dad and he's got 2 kids and they're just jumping on the seats and making a lot of noise. And the people around him are saying out loud and to themselves, why don't this dad just take care of these kids? Why does he let them disrupt everybody on the bus? But what the dad was in contemplative, meditative space doing, figuring out how he can tell his 2 sweet children that their mom just passed. That hit me hard, because we often look at the world or look at people's behavior, make a judgment based on our experience. And, you could be right. You could be right. But there also could be a myriad of other reasons, including the one I just said. And if you were to look at it from the space of no judgment, just love, this dad was being the best dad, because he allowed his children a few more moments of their childhood to play. before he had to give them this devastating news.
Yes. We never know what somebody's going through. When we meet somebody, we meet a person that we have never interacted with before, we don't know what their journey has been up to that point. We don't know that maybe they have had a loss, or they're going through a turbulent marriage or relationship, or they're suffering abuse of one kind or another, or they're just having difficulty handling life. So that no judgment that's a gift that we give ourselves, because if we stay out of that judgment zone, then we're going to be open enough to pick up on the little nuances, to pick up on the signs that are there, that, hey, maybe there's something going on with this person that I just need to listen to them instead of criticizing. Like you were saying, ShaRon, just stop looking at the outside circumstance. Maybe the kids are a little unruly. Maybe there's a reason that parent at that moment is not able or not willing to show, the discipline. Maybe there's something else deeper that's going on. And we just don't know when we encounter people.
Absolutely, Teri.
We may be encountering angels unaware and don't know. So, there's different ways of looking at that. But I think the more we can be open to what others are going through, use that empathy. We all have it. It's one of our gifts that we have. So use it and tune in.
And I'm here in Phoenix, Scottsdale actually, and about 12 years ago, I learned about something called ACEs, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences. And in short, things happen to us when we're younger. They happen around us. We're innocent, beautiful souls when we're born. And the things that happen around us, if we don't have someone guiding us through it who's aware, and more often than not, our parents are not aware, they're not negligent, they just haven't had the experience. And so one of the questions that I learned to ask, and I'm inviting everyone, whenever you see something that you want to judge, and please judge away, because we're human. You have to judge. That's how we live in the world. And judgments are not the problem. It's what you think about after you make that judgment. It's how you treat people. It's what you do after you make the judgment. And I give you this phrase that helps me. Instead of saying, what's wrong with that person? Ask yourself what happened around that person. And that opens up a space of curiosity. You don't have to know what really happened. That's not the goal. Just give the space of something different than what you're judging and observing might give you some other way to interact with that person.
Yeah. Yes. And I also encourage us all to be more observant of ourselves. Look at how you're responding to that person. A lot of times we don't realize the message we're sending out with our nonverbal communication. So we may be looking at, let's say, that same scenario, ShaRon, with the parent on the bus. We may be looking at them and not knowing that we're holding this energy of criticism or of, aggravation or irritation. They're disturbing our peace or whatever. We may not know how our face is giving a message to that parent. And maybe this is somebody that really needs to have a listening ear or a compassionate heart that will just be with them at that moment. So pay attention and be the observer of how you're responding in whatever situation comes up as you're interacting with other people. And I think this is so important in families because sometimes a parent is so stressed and just has so many irons in the fire and so many things going on, and does not realize that nonverbal communication is saying a whole lot more than what their words are saying.
And the energy is emitting from you. Whatever kind of feeling or emotion you're in, I'm recognizing more and more of what my energy is sending out, like how I feel if I'm sad. And oh, I get sad a lot because there's so many things going on in our world that cause me to be mad, angry, sad, all of that. And I can now, because I'm practiced, feel my energy just sucking in or going down. And, somebody like my daughter will call, and she's in Peoria. I'm in Scottsdale, which is like 30, 40 minutes away. Mom, are you all right? And I'm like, how did she know I was in a sad place? And I'm not a science. So all y'all out there that are scientists and understand it, maybe you want to type in and let us know what the real scientific reason for this is. I just know my intuitive reason is that my energy goes out beyond my body to some degree, sometimes miles out. That's why I think when I'm praying or when I'm sending compassion to the areas of our world that are troubled, I know it's reaching somehow. Again, tell me the science.
Show me the science.
Show me the science.
Yeah.
But
we do have a wonderful audience with us, and we'd love to hear from you. Those of you that have come to join us today, this is our very first show. We're doing 3 of these. So hopefully you'll see with this one how it's going to flow. And if you have things that you would like to have discussed in these next upcoming shows, please type that in. We have Charlie Coons with us.
Hi, Charlie.
Suzanne Millard, Catherine Kovacs, Andrea Gregg, Erica Hoppy, and Stacy Lynn Gary. And sitting right next to me is Dr. Ruth Anderson.
No way. Hello, Dr. Ruth.
So yes, we'd love to hear from our audience. We'd love to hear any response to the things that we've already brought up. And if there's anything that you would like to say or you would like to ask, we'd love to hear from you. And Blue Jean just came in. Hello, darling. So yeah, we want to know. We want this to be interactive. It's, yes, ShaRon and I are sitting having a conscious conversation, but it's for all of us. We are all one. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you just said, ShaRon.
Yeah.
How when you're feeling that way, when you've gone to that place, and we all do, there's no judgment there. It's just a fact. We're in this human body. We go through human experiences. Things happen in our world, and we're going to react. We're going to sometimes go to that place of sadness and depression and confusion. This is a very confusing time right now with things that are happening. Is. So when we go to that place, it doesn't just affect us. It doesn't just stay right here in this little energy field that I have around me. It is going to go out to the universe, because it's kind of like we're making a cosmic phone call, and the whole cosmos is saying, oh, what's going on? What's happening? We feel a shift in the energy field. Who was it? I think it was Auntie Jean the other day that said, there's a disturbance in the force. Like,
every day, all
day. And that's what there is right now. There's a disturbance in the force. So however we choose to react and respond to it, we are sending that out to the universe. And so other people do know that there's something happening. There's a ripple going out. And now where's that at? Where's that ripple? Where's it coming from? And how can we all pull together to bring this back into a stabilized field instead of a disturbed field, right?
Yes. And, again, I thought about our talk today, Teri, and I just had some notes that I wrote down about things that have happened in my life recently. And maybe people that are listening now or on the replay will know this already, but I'd sure love to share for those who are maybe not aware of Dr. David Hawkins. He has you're laughing, Terry.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I just had a conversation with Ruth. We'd been at lunch, and I said, "You know who just popped into my field of awareness was David Hawking." Like, so fun, and we have not talked about this. So
No.
there's a synchronicity, and this for you all listening. This is what happens many, many times. It's not just one person that gets a message. It goes out into the field. So carry on, ShaRon.
Thank you. It's funny. It's just like, oh, I was just thinking of that when someone else said something. So what I know about Dr. Hawkins, because I've read his material, he has a map of consciousness. So if you kind of look at an inverted ice cream cone, no, it's the other way around, a regular ice cream, whatever. You look at levels of going from the bottom up to the top. And what he says is everything is vibration. And I just sent out a newsletter, and Albert Einstein would agree. Hey, a little bit of science I got there, huh?
Mm-hmm. You sure do.
And what he has researched, excuse me, and come to the conclusion of is when one person vibrates, like your energy is of a higher level, 300, I don't know what megahertz, but 300 or above, you have the ability to affect, you ready for this number? 750,000 other people living in a lower energy. So if the motivation to rise up through laughter and joy and love and being with your family or your pets or gardening, cooking, whatever it is that brings you some lightness and some joy, do it for yourself for sure. And also, if it's useful for you, include that just by doing what you love, you're lifting up 750,000. Just think of that number. It's not 2 people. It's not 20. It's 750,000. And with your permission, Terry, I wrote down the lower energies just to give people some information as you move up. So the lower energies are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, anger, pride. Now, with no judgment, we're all going to feel those at some point. I'm not saying to not feel that. And who knows how long you're going to feel the grief or the anger or the shame. And if you know that you're in those now, you have hopefully a motivation to move through them. And the little space in between is courage and neutrality. So if you can just get your energy up or your thoughts around, okay, I'm just going to be courageous and neutral. I'm not going to stay in that energy of lower energies for too long. Then, if you can rise up, here are the ones that bring you up, is acceptance and having reason, thinking through things. And then the biggies, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. So cool. So every day I try, and I'm pretty successful, and I invite you to experiment. How can you find joy? How can you really live in a loving space with all of the wackadoodle things that are going on in our world? That doesn't mean you ignore them. We absolutely want to be aware of what's happening in our world to the extent that we have some knowledge, but also that we can help somehow. We do need to help our neighbors and help our friends and help the people that we don't even think are our neighbors or friends. But find a little bit of joy. Look at a funny movie. Watch kids play. Whatever makes you have a little smile.
A
Thanks,
baby giggle.
Yes.
That's what I go to. There's a lot of good positive energy that we have immediate free access to. We can go to a YouTube video and pull up a baby, just type in when you go onto YouTube, a baby giggling, and just listen to that. You can't not smile. It's not going to happen when you get into that energy of a little kid just being free enough to just laugh and giggle. And that will instantly raise the vibration. But one thing that I do want to say, I'm a follower of Abraham. As I know you are, ShaRon. I listen a lot. And one thing that Abraham teaches us is you're not going to go from sadness, anger, grief, that very bottom of the barrel, all the way up to exhilaration in one full swoop, because that's just too big of a range, and it wouldn't be real. So what you can do is choose a better feeling thought, as Abraham has taught us. And so what does that mean? ShaRon mentioned some of those emotions. So if you find yourself in anger, and right now, who said it? Stacy Lynn Gary said there's a lot of hostility in the world right now. And there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of just like, what the heck is going on type of energy, right?
Yes.
So if you find yourself in those low vibrations at the very bottom of that pit, what can you do? You can choose to say, I don't want to stay here. This isn't feeling so good. I want to rise up out of this vibration. So you can choose a better feeling thought. You can say, okay, right now it's kind of looking, not so good. We're not really liking the direction this is going in right now. But I can choose to think that there is potential. There is hope. When we're at the place of hopelessness, that's when we're closest to a miracle happening, because it's either a miracle is going to happen or we're going to like say, I'm done, I'm out of here. So go to that place where there's hope. And when you start to think about, okay, maybe there is a light at the end of that tunnel. Maybe there is something that's going to happen miraculously that will open up a space where we can have some options instead of only seeing the darkness. So we go by it incrementally. We don't jump from the bottom rung to the top rung. Just think of a ladder. You can't jump that high unless you're Superman or Spidey-Man or whatever man or woman. So go up one rung at a time. Choose a better feeling thought that has some type of hope attached to it, and start lifting yourself up. And it might be listening to laughter. It might be watching that innocent baby just being in its innocence, knowing that everything is working perfectly, even though we can't see it at the moment. We can at least have hope that it is working perfectly.
And Teri, that's so, so true. And to add on to that, I have myself and other people that tell me, well, how can I feel good? Or how can I laugh when there's so much tragedy going on in the world? I feel guilty for having a happy life because there's so many people that are having less than a happy life, a challenging life, a traumatic life, a devastating life.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I even get there? Well, that's why I give all to Dr. David right now, Hawkins, because now instead of in my mind feeling like I'm guilty and I'm, doing a disservice, now I know, oh, when I rise up, I'm going to lift how many people? 750,000? Okay, let me find something to laugh at.
That's right. That's right. Or surround yourself with an animal. Suzanne mentioned that she finds immediate joy in her pets. And so true. All they want to do is love. That's all our animals want to do, is just love.
Absolutely.
So yes, that's one of the ways. Laughter, surrounding yourself with unconditional love, such as an animal or babies. I keep going back to babies because they're just so pure. And so there's lots of ways. So we're just throwing out a few hints, a few tips. And this is what ShaRon and I do when we work with somebody that's in that space of saying, oh, things are just really hopeless right now. We try to say, okay, let's look at maybe there's some little ray of hope. And then from there, we can find more. It's like gratitude, ShaRon. when you start mentioning the things that you're grateful for, if you can find one thing to be grateful for, just one, and let's put that out there. All right, I want everybody that's on here. We've got, it says 6 people, but I see more names than that. So if you're listening, type one thing that you're grateful for. Because the beauty of gratitude, if you can find one thing, guess what? More is going to show up because you're going to start thinking in that positive momentum. You're going to start thinking, oh, well, wait, I'm grateful for that too, right? Have you found that,
Yeah.
ShaRon?
Oh, without a doubt, because like attracts like. And, you know, what you focus on, you get more of. Tiny story while everybody's typing. I had a co-parenting couple that I was working with, and the dad and the mom were just battling. I mean, neither one could find anything good about the other. And so I invited the dad from the one week that we were together to the next week. I said, I want you to look for just one thing that the mom of your child does that you can give grace and gratitude for. He came back the next week. He goes, ShaRon, I didn't find anything except this. And I'm not going to say the bad word that he said. He said, well, she didn't call me a MF all week, so I guess that's a good thing.
Hey, that's a positive, right? It's going in the right direction.
But yes, it just made me laugh. I'm like, you know, so everybody, whatever it is, doesn't have to be this lofty, angelic thing. It could just be basic. Okay, she didn't curse at me this week, so I guess that's a good thing.
Oh, wow. That is funny. Okay, we have gratitude. Erica is grateful for her saint, which is her dog. Andrea is grateful for her family. Stacy Gary, I'm grateful for my children. And then Suzanne also, I'm grateful for my kids. Helen Stanley, hello, and thank you for joining in. I'm so grateful for my lovely, kind neighbor helping me with my garden today.
That's
How
beautiful.
awesome that you were the recipient of a random act of kindness, right?
Yes.
And Blue Jean says, I'm so loved and grateful with a humble heart for this gift. Wow, thank you all. Thank you
That's
for
beautiful.
just taking a moment to think about gratitude. You just raised your vibration, our vibration, and how many people's vibration? Let's see who remembers. Who remembers that number?
Type in how many.
Type it in. I love this. I love this. When we can start the day with gratitude, and ShaRon, I do this every morning when I open my eyes. I just
Me
say,
too.
thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for another opportunity for whatever comes my way. Whatever
Yes.
it is that happens this day, I'm grateful that I'm alive to experience it. When we can
Absolutely.
start our day with that. You know, I used to say, I want it, that was when I had a place to live, a building to
You
live
have a
in.
place to live. You're Earth being.
I
right
know,
now.
I live on Earth. But I used to say, I want to wake up in the morning and look up at the ceiling and see it's a great day to have a great day. Because that's my philosophy these days. That's how I live. Every
Yeah.
day can be that great day to have a great day. It's
Without
up
a
to
doubt.
us. And we got responses, and y'all are so right. 750,000 people. Y'all passed the test. You were listening.
Yes. That's an amazing number. I mean, I don't know 750,000 people, so I am absolutely affecting people that I don't know, which is
Right.
such a cool thought.
It is. And my philosophy, I don't know how they came up with that number exactly.
Science.
Science, that's right. It's all in the science. So my philosophy is that when we put that energy out, it doesn't stay with us. It goes out into the quantum field of all that is. And then it touches another person, and that person then ripples it out and it touches another person. So we don't have to know 750,000 people.
Right. Right.
All we have to know is that when I put out that energy, whether it's a high vibration or a low vibration, I'm
Oh,
affecting
true, Terry.
those people.
True. I have so many cute little stories. I hope it's okay if I share another
I
one.
love stories.
I was feeling like for a whole week I had belly laughs, like talking to friends and watching whatever I was watching on TV. And I wasn't really paying attention that I was doing that, but it was constant. And then I happened to have to go to the store, and I thought I was calm. I thought, I'm just kind of in my space. And I walked behind this elderly couple, and the lady was walking reasonably well, and the guy had a little bit of challenge. So I just paused and let them get their shopping cart, and and then they we went to the vegetable places first in my supermarket, and the man was by the onions, very focused on trying to find his beautiful onion. And I came up behind the wife, and I kind of paused because I'm waiting again. And she turned around and she pointed at me. She goes, "I like you."
What's not to like about ShaRon, Ria?
But it was like she pointed, and I'm like, what just happened? I mean, how do you respond to that? So I was like, "Well, I like you too." And then she says, I really, really like you. And I said, "Well, your husband is having some time with the onions. He's good too, right? I like him too." She goes, "Well, I got to hang out with him." But again, 3 times, "I like you." And I just walked away because he was taking a long time with the onions. And I said, what just happened in my world? Something in me, around me, caused this woman to turn around, point at me, and say that. And so it for me, it said my energy precedes me. It's like a calling card. It goes in front of me, around me, behind me. And people feel it when I'm in a terrible mood, and they feel it when I'm not even paying attention to my mood.
Right. She was your earth angel. She was there for you to see yourself in her mirror of you. For you to see your
like that,
magnificence.
everyone, just notice the oddities of life that happen around you, and let them become the common things that you just observe and are aware of.
Yeah.
When good things happen, when you missed a turn, but you found something exciting that you didn't even know was there. Look for the positives. They're there. They are plentiful, and they're waiting for us. Because when we do focus in on the things that are traumatic, and oh my goodness, y'all, please, I understand there's a lot. I have to be tender with the TV these days, because I just beep in to know what's happening, and then I gotta come back out to find my center. And I used to be a lobbyist in New York, so government is my thing. I really, really love the function and the way and the possibilities of government melding with the regular community. But from my view right now, government's a little off center. I mean, it's not doing what at least I would like it to do when I used to be a lobbyist. So I have the pains in my heart. I have the annoyance in my head. Fortunately, I haven't thrown anything at the TV to break it, because there's many times that I wanted to do that.
Yeah, I get that. I don't watch TV myself. I do watch movies, and that was our thing when I was with ShaRon. We'd always choose an uplifting movie to just sit and wind down in our day. But yeah, I've been there where I wanted to throw something at the TV, and that's why I eventually decided this isn't doing me any good. It's not doing my vibration any good. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Anybody having out there chatting with us?
Charlie had some gratitude. I'm grateful for Teri bringing me my Erica.
Oh, Charlie, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I think Erica's on here, so she's probably hearing those words and hopefully going into a higher vibration with that gratitude.
Absolutely. So Teri, I feel like we're at a complete pause. What are you feeling?
I think so. You know, we would love to hear from you all that are listening. We want to bring some positive energy. We also want to be real and raw. And, you know, these times that we're living in, they're not easy times, but we came here for such a time as this. So if there's something we can help you with, if there's questions, if there's just a point of view that you would like to hear, please just let us know what you'd like to hear about. And I know that as we get deeper, I would like to look at some of the laws, the universal laws that we are creating this life that we're in, and how are we doing that, and understanding more about, you know, there's more than just the law of attraction. Pretty much everybody knows how that one works, right? It's been beat over the head for how long now? But there are so many other universal laws, and I would like for us to look at some of that, because that's how we're creating our reality. Those are the things coming into play so that we're seeing what we're seeing, and how can we, with our knowledge of it, how can we then turn things around in our world? Because I'm an optimist. I really believe we can pivot from the negativity and make more of an influence with our positive energy and change things. So those are the kind of things that I envision over the next couple of weeks that ShaRon and I will sit together with you. If you have other things that you want us to look at with you, then please let us know. And we will be here the next 2 Sundays at the same time. We'd love to just be able to open up a discussion, having all of you interact. And thank you for your participation today. To those of you who jumped in here, we really do appreciate the interaction.
Absolutely. And as I'm looking behind you, Teri, it says, oh, yes, there is more. And I have a friend who says, look beyond the illusion, look beyond what's just right in front of you. What else could it possibly be? What else can you discover? How can you become just a smidge more optimistic? How can you find those things that are actually already working well? The birds are still flying outside my door. That's still working well.
Right.
You know, we had like about 5 drops of rain, and for Arizona, that's like a monsoon.
Huge. I know.
But I would love it if you take the time, if you're willing, and if it inspires you between now and the next time we come on, to just think about what you want us to explore and have this be a collaborative conversation. Teri and I talk a lot, and we have a lot of things to say. We've got much that we've explored, but we really want to bring you into the conversation as well, and have you be the one who guides what we're talking about, along with Teri talking about the different kinds of universal laws. And I know that many of the communities on here are very resonant and familiar with Teri. And I hope you're getting a taste of who I am as well. And I would love to be another support system for you. I know you have Teri, and it may not need anything else but my sweet Teri. But if you just are curious about other thoughts in your head, because that's what really brings us to a place of curiosity, of different solutions, of awareness that things are moving in a different direction, is when you have the opportunity to hear someone else's perspective and see if it works for you.
Yeah. And ShaRon, I had put your contact information in with the description, and please reach out to ShaRon. And ShaRon, I do believe that you will sit with somebody for, 15 minutes to just explore. Is there something that we can work together on? How can I bring more clarity to your life or to a situation you're going through. And I do the same. I offer that same thing. But I would love for you all to reach out to ShaRon and just say, can I sit with you for a few minutes and let's see how our energies mix. Just
and guess where you'll be
yourself.
sitting with me? You're going to be sitting with me on the virtual comfy couch of no judgment, just love.
That's right. I love that comfy couch. There's no place like home, and ShaRon certainly makes you feel at home in her own home. So reach out. We'd love for you to.
Thank you, Teri. Thanks, everyone. Golly, this was fun, Teri. Every time we get together, I don't usually prepare because I know we're going to be guided to what we are going to chat about, but it's always a pleasure. It's always deep. It's always fun and hopefully really useful for the people that are listening now and in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do appreciate each one of you. I see your thank yous and so much gratitude right back to you. And Karen Gibbons just came in and said it's her first time here. Well, this is our first time doing this, Karen. So you're with us from the beginning. And please come back next Sunday at the same time, all of you, and bring a friend. Grab somebody and say, hey, let's go have a little talk today. We'd love to have that happen. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. Stay in your heart and stay blessed. And we will see you next week. ShaRon, I love you so much. Thank you, my soul sister, for being here.
Yes, thank you, my dear. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye. Thank you.